Yes, team. So welcome to part 2 of this little mini masterclass series on overcoming procrastination, or two angles where I'm channeling this, right? There's overcoming procrastination and there's taking decisive action. I much prefer learning how to take decisive action over talking about overcoming procrastination, because one is overcoming a negative habit, or not so, as we're going to come on to, and one is developing a positive habit. Can you see how they're different? So in the last training, we very much discussed how you are not a procrastinator. So if you've had the habit of saying that, please stop right now, because what we really mean is that we have the habit of not making decisions quickly and not doing the things that are most important. And decisiveness, Luke Birch, is the number one skill that will skyrocket your life. Luke's been making some very decisive decisions, which is amazing. So I discussed in Think and Grow Rich, as I've often said, the most powerful and epic, well-renowned personal development book of all times. The two things that Napoleon Hill discusses, that over 500 of the world's highest performers and top multi-billion millionaires had, was two things. One was definiteness of purpose, as he describes it, knowing exactly what they want, and decisiveness. So essentially, they know what they want and they take decisive action towards it. Big, hard, fast decisions are the way. So we need to understand that we are not procrastinators, but we all procrastinate. We're going right back to the identity change training. So please stop, if you are still doing this, and many of you are, please stop saying I am and inserting a negative personality trait. You are not a procrastinator. You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. You are not a person who doesn't believe in yourself. But those are states, and you will experience them time to time. And we're going to come on to why this is a good thing. And I want you guys to know today, there's going to be some real honesty from me in this live as well. Whatever you find tough in life, I find tough in life. Whatever I find tough in life, Ant Middleton probably finds tough in life. Whatever Ant Middleton finds tough in life, Arnold Schwarzenegger probably finds tough in life. Okay? Here's why. Every single human being possesses every single trait in existence. Do you not think Arnold Schwarzenegger's ever procrastinated on a decision? Of course he has. Do you not think he's ever overreacted in the heat of the moment? Of course he has. Do you think he's ever not doubted himself? Of course he has. You just see the highlights that are on social media and in books. Okay? So every single one of us has every single human trait in existence within us. So if you're going to say I am, say I am everything. I am enough. I am all. I am whole. I am all traits. Because, again, this is why, and like I said, this is going to be some truth bombs. This is why other people trigger us. This is why we react to other people, because very often we see something in them that we either haven't dealt with in ourselves, or that we don't like within ourselves, or that we haven't even admitted within ourselves. Classic example, right? I now get highly triggered by people who put beggy as fuck, seeking validation, begging for attention posts on social media. Why? Because it used to be me. And I now understand that 99% of what people post is the opposite. So the girl with the big boobs and the bum out and all the makeups and the filters, showing the world just how beautiful she is. What does she really feel if you look below the surface level? She's insecure, she wants to be loved, she's desperately seeking someone to validate her and say how nice her body is. The opposite of what everyone perceives. What does everyone perceives? Christ, she loves herself. So one now see through it from a human behavioural psychology point of view, which makes me pacify it with me. Now I don't think, oh God, look at her begging for attention again. I think, God, she's really struggling. So, you know, I did get triggered by something that was within me, because every trait is within us, as I said. So the other thing that I get triggered with, especially if one of you guys do it, and I'll straight up call you out on it, because there's going to be some truth bombs coming for a lot of people in the next couple of weeks. Some people won't be here in the next couple of weeks, because the pressure will either create a diamond or that will make the person run away and leave. People not doing the work and making it someone else's fault. Absolute bullshit trait. Triggers the shit out of me. Why? I do it all the time myself. Done it with probably every previous mentor I've ever had. See? Why does it annoy me? Because I've done it. So this is the point is, I'm using brutal examples here, but everything I do, everything that frustrates me, I've done. Every trait that is within me is within you, good and bad. So you have everything within you, all the positives, all the negatives. You are an action taker and you are a procrastinator. You have them both, you have them all, but this means they're states that we shift between. Does that make sense? They're not somewhere we live. We're not somewhere we can't be. Positive can't exist without negative, like I've said. You know, I'm going to give you a real world example right now. Some of you haven't, but hands up if you noticed I left the WhatsApp group on Wednesday. No one's noticed. Brilliant. Second up, I'm not apologising for it. Third up, I have no intention of ever going back in it. Do you know why? Not because I don't love you all. Not because I don't love seeing you wins. Not because I don't see it as an absolute hive of personality and a perfect place for you guys to keep each other inspired and share your wins. However, for me personally, I've been moaning about the level of distraction that group causes me from 5 a.m. in the morning until sometimes 11 p.m. at night, 7 days a fucking week. It's not about me not loving you guys. It drives me round the bend. And I just need to be honest about it. I've got sometimes I've got 20, 30 of you that I'm liaising one-on-one with on WhatsApp, as well as personal friends and family. And it's going ping, 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 ping. So-and-so is typing, so-and-so is typing, so-and-so is typing. And it was driving me round the bend. Since Wednesday, I've had more clarity, more mental focus, and I've got more done than probably in the 3 weeks before. Now, here's why I'm telling you. What I hadn't been doing was I kept moaning about the WhatsApp group. Honestly, I wasn't managing to focus on a task for more than 15 minutes because something in the group was distracting me. That doesn't mean it's not a great thing and a great place. Does that make sense? It just wasn't working for me. And you have to understand, if something's not working for you, you can't stay quiet. You can't keep moaning, blaming and complaining about it. You can't keep experiencing frustration, anxiety and stress towards a situation and not take action against it. But that was exactly what I was doing. Also, it's very different from a you perspective to a me perspective. So a teacher, a coach or a leader speaks one to many. I've had to journal this and understand it, why I was feeling that way. You know, you cannot coach and deliver things as a coach, a leader, or a mentor if you were in a classroom and the other 80 people in the classroom were all trying to talk at once and you're trying to get a point across. Your point would get constantly lost. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliver 10 times more within the mindset and trainings group. I'm going to deliver 10 times more to you guys on a one-to-one basis without the noise. And I'm going to focus on my mission, my focus and my drive, which is getting results with every single one of you and upscaling, not being distracted by a group 24/7. And again, decisions I make on the business and the event will be my decisions, not based on, you have to understand this, guys, as well, why it's been going wrong for me in some ways and you guys. And I would urge you guys to learn from this as well. You can't be making a decision on something and then asking 85 fucking people what they think about the decision. Because the decision's no longer a decision. Like, you can't keep everyone happy in life. You can't, you're always going to feel emotional into one other side than the other. You're going to feel like you're making some people happy, you're going to start making some people sad. You need to listen, then make the decision and stand by it. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but also the other thing as well, so that's what I've had to deal with, and I urge you guys to do the same. If there's something that's been stressing you out, making you feel anxious and you've been moaning about it, take action. Don't keep moaning about it in quiet. Don't keep making it someone else's fault, because that's what I was doing. So that's why when I see other people doing that, that's why it triggers me. Now, it's the same as staying quiet and not having awkward conversations. That's my biggest drawback in the world. Staying quiet for an easy life. Avoiding confrontation. Not doing something because it's going to hurt or judge other people. What would be my reason, considering the amount of distraction it was causing? What would be the only one reason I would have considered not coming out of the WhatsApp group? Someone put in the comments. This should be pretty obvious. There's only one reason I would not have considered doing the thing that was causing me the highest amount of distraction, that was stopping delivering my services at the ability that I can do. Fear of what you guys think. Afraid of what you might think about it. What will the clients think if they leave my group, if you leave your own WhatsApp group? Well, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy that you're spending more time one-on-one delivering a higher level of service. And the worst thing is, this is the other thing before I nail this and we get onto the training properly. Guys, we start to mirror each other. And I'm going to be really honest. Some of you need to sort your shit out. Big style. Just like I do. It's not a joke. We're not here to piss around. We're not here to talk cod shit and take the piss out of each other from 6 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night. But I was starting to do that myself. Really, there was a point when I was like, really, Lee? 9 o'clock at night and you're posting crap in a group about fancying a 22-year-old Olympic athlete. Seeking attention, seeking validation, trying to make people laugh. I'm pretty sure that any top leaders wouldn't be behaving like that. So I'm thinking, right, no, this is not cool, but I'm merging into what I've created. We mirror who we're around, right? So let's start being leaders, winners, motivators, tracking our food, doing the training, doing the mindset work, celebrating the wins, setting big goals, being on a mission, being focused, and mirror each other in that. Now, I'm not saying don't have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a banter, but if you're a person at the minute, and there's several of you, and I'm not going to apologize to you for saying this, that's posting 15 times in the group, sometimes 20, 30 times, but you're not tracking your food, and you're not even training properly, and you're not checking in. Consider your actions and whether they're leading towards the goal that you want, or whether you're just doing exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this group. And don't take that to heart. Take it to you've just had the same lesson that I've had. Are we doing the work or are we getting distracted? That's the question. Okay? And it marries over into everything in life. These are the key things we do that hold us back, right? Not getting to bed on time, wasting hours watching TV, wasting hours on social media, wasting hours in WhatsApp groups, making excuses not to train, scrolling utter garbage, taking the mickey out of ourselves for being fat, taking the mickey out of ourselves for being whatever, insert negative thing, because again, it's a fun distraction and a protection mechanism from doing the work that we need to do to move forwards. Again, the same stories we tell ourselves about, I am this, I am that, I am that. Because as long as I say that, it prevents me from taking the work, and I'm going to come on to why. You know, I'm going against my own rules. What does it say? All social media and phone off at 8 p.m. Analysing screen time. I've written a planner and I'm going against my own plan. These are all lessons that I've had. So I urge you to have them too and accept it. Post your workouts, post motivation, have a little bit of a laugh time and time again. But if it's just constantly a tirade of crap chat, think about it. It's all I'm saying, okay? Is it really leading you towards your mission, or is it distracting yourself from the mission? Because we're looking for easy, pain-free options and getting distracted. All of these are me as well. So essentially, don't take this to heart if you are doing, because I'm calling myself out. Constantly allowing social media and other people to drain my energy and distract me from my mission. And this will keep me stuck. It will keep you stuck. Keep you focused on the problem rather than the solution. But also, if you have been doing this, don't beat yourself up. Because trust me, everything that you've done, I've done it too. And all these things are lessons to move forwards. Anything you feel guilty about? Yeah, me too. Anything you feel nervous about? Yeah, me too. Could have been nervous about this conversation, not done it, and carried on fitting in with the crowd. But here's the reality. The right people will now step up. The wrong people will ship out. That's not in my control. What is in my control is to take control and start being the leader that you guys need again and pushing you towards results. The end. So, ways we procrastinate. WhatsApp groups. No, I'm only kidding. I'm not going to go on about it anymore. It's an amazing place if used right for the right reasons. That's it. If it's distracting your life, and that will be individual to each person, it's not. Number one. Okay? Drop me a yes if you do this. If you don't, maybe these things are all just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just a neurodiversity thing that other people don't struggle with. Checking your phone and social media all the time. Do you know the biggest insight I had to this yesterday, right? I sent someone a voice note, a prospective client, and she apologized on a Sunday for not replying within 2 hours because she was with her family. And I was like, why on earth are you apologizing for that? Like, you should be celebrating that. I wouldn't expect you to reply. Like, the biggest habit that probably keeps most of us back is thinking we need to reply to every message, every email, every social media post, every WhatsApp group post, every everything as soon as it comes in. Like, I've spent days when I've lost my whole life just on WhatsApp or in a WhatsApp group or in my emails. I've done nothing towards my mission. Nothing towards even helping people, because all day I've just been chatting. Who does this? Again, you might be open enough and brave enough to say, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not just me, but we all do. Who posts on social media then constantly checks back to see how many likes it's got? Posts on social media then checks back to see how many comments it's got? Posts in the WhatsApp group and then looks to see how many people have acknowledged their comment. Constantly checks their stories to see how many people are viewing them. Shares other people's contents. Gets distracted and starts sharing things about politics, the future, what's going on in the world, negativity, trying to gain support for one thing and it's against another, and losing the mission of your goals, your mission, your life, your family, your dreams, your aspirations. Instead, no, people have drawn me into their arguments, their bullshit, their stuff that I can't control. Luke's brave enough to say yes. We all do it, guys, right? These are the main habits. These are the ways we procrastinate. Checking our phone all the time, checking social media all the time, checking WhatsApp all the time, seeing how many people have liked our posts, seeing how many people have viewed our story, replying to messages and emails as soon as we receive them, staring at the screen, wishing work would go away. Maybe some of you stare at the screen, wishing Lee would stop talking. Doing the easy jobs first, worrying about what other people think, having multiple tabs open, having all your notifications on, asking other people for their opinion or permission. I.e. Lee Freeman, I'm thinking about doing this event. What do you guys all think to 82 people? How on earth is that ever going to lead to me making a clear strategic decision for the greater good of all people? It's going to lead to ultimate confusion. Again, this happens in businesses, happens in relationships, this happens in all areas of life. People ask their mum and dad what they think about them starting a business. Their mum and dad have never run a business. Of course they think it's a bad idea. They've never run a business. People go to their friend who's had 17 divorces and 57 men behind her, or in front of her, or underneath her, about relationship advice. She's probably not the best person to ask for relationship advice. Or he, or it, or unicorn. Okay, asking for permission, asking for other people's opinions, asking for permission to take action, cleaning, tidying, making a coffee every 5 fucking minutes. I did that last week for about an hour. Having food every 20 minutes, taking a nap, overtraining in the gym when we should be working on our life or our business, playing computer games, playing video games, adult gamers spending 4 to 5 hours per evening building fictitious villages or whatever they do, or fighting soldiers, or what's the Grand Theft Auto one, buying drugs, driving fast cars, going to strip joints, whatever these games do. Classic procrastination. We can't say I want all these dreams, these goals, these aspirations, this body, this business, yet I found 5 hours for Call of Duty, but I've not tracked my food this week. Then add on the time in the WhatsApp group, but I've not tracked my food this week. Then look at my screen time, but I've not tracked up my food this week. We've got to get clarity on this. Looking for another holiday, looking for another night out, looking for another handbag, looking for the next thing to buy, looking for the next weekend away. Classic procrastination. Apart from the last three, apart from computer games, looking for a holiday, a night out or a festival, every single thing I just mentioned, I did in the last week. Every single thing I mentioned, I probably did most days. I've given myself literally a stick of dynamite up my backside this weekend. My whole life has become a distraction from what I want for the business and the results that I want for you guys. But now I've accepted the lesson and I'm ready to move forwards. So as I said, don't beat yourself up, but accept the lesson. What are you not doing that you should be doing? How are you getting distracted? When are you choosing pleasure over purpose? When are you choosing inaction over action? Because they're all just behaviors we can work on and improve. And if it's not that and it's working for you and you don't want a better body and you don't want a better life and you don't want a better business and you don't want a better career and you don't want more motivation and you don't want dreams, aspirations and goals, you don't want to come to the events and be tested and go out of your comfort zone, and you'd rather just continue investing each month to do nothing more but talk shit in a WhatsApp group, I am totally okay with that. You crack on, but don't make it my fucking fault when you've not lost any weight. The end. So these are all behaviours. Might not have any clients left by the end of this live. I will, I'll have the good ones. They're all behaviours we can work on and improve, okay? So we can brush off procrastination. We can brush off indecision. And we can start today. We can let it go and move forward as individuals and as a team. So if you're struggling, ask for help. It's not an illness. It's normal to struggle. I struggle every day. That's the number one piece of advice I can give any individual actually in the world. If you're struggling, ask for help. Help is everywhere around you. Now, here's the big flipper. Who remembers Flipper, that program with the dolphins? It was called Flipper, wasn't it? Come on, it's got small golden oldies in it. Flipper. By the way, James Corton, happy birthday. So, procrastination has a hidden benefit. Yes, Luke, diamonds are formed under the most intense pressure. The strong will stay and the weak will leave. Every negative habit has a hidden benefit. Procrastination has a hidden benefit. Fear, anxiety, stress, worry, they all have hidden benefits. If they didn't have hidden benefits, they wouldn't exist. Can anyone guess what, I spent all weekend working on this, what the hidden benefit of procrastination is? Remember, if we can understand something, we can utilize it. If we can find meaning in the madness, we can utilize it. If somebody like Jason can find meaning in the situation of what happened, then every single one of us can. Meaning in the madness. Have you ever considered this? Procrastination helps you survive. Procrastination helps you feel good. Procrastination saves you energy so you can protect yourself. Why? In an attempt at coping with the threat to your self-worth. And this is a protection against fear of failure and fear of being judged, both of which trigger your innermost fear is that you are not good enough and that as a result, you won't be loved, you'll be excluded from the tribe, and you will die. However, we're not living in primal times anymore, and the mind just hasn't caught up with reality. I'll come on to this a little bit more, but think of caveman and cavewoman, Tarzan and Jane. Like, they didn't have dreams and goals and aspirations and missions and work commitments and family commitments and hobbies. They generally had three: stay alive, eat, procreate. I was going to use a very inappropriate word then, but I decided against it. So we both had to eat, survive, personal and protect our family, and procreate. That's it. So in those times, if you had those feelings of not fitting in, being laughed at, being mocked at, being judged, being removed, failing and not being liked, you would be excluded from the tribe. So procrastination was actually, and still is sometimes, it's a form of subconscious habits to preserve and protect. If I don't try, then there's no opportunity of failing. If I don't try, then there's no opportunity of being mocked, judged, or laughed at. If I don't try, then there's no chance of failure. So I'll procrastinate to not try because it protects my self-worth. Does that make sense? It protects against potential feelings of trying the action, it not working, and me feeling a certain way, which goes right back to primeval times. Now, here's the thing that I believe we need to understand in order to truly understand this. Yes, Carl Apps! And I've not even said that. Carl said, if you don't try, you can't fail. So procrastination is a natural internal protection mechanism to prevent failure the way it would make me feel, which would trigger my innermost feeling of not being good enough, being removed from the tribe, not being loved, and dying. That's gone back through history. That's what I figured out this weekend. Because I have a life and I do like loads of fun stuff at the weekend, like not studying books on procrastination. But vibing on. I love these when we start vibing. It's like jamming on these sessions rather than following the notes. And then I've got loads of notes for the next week as well. So, Carl, if you don't try, you can't fail. Yes, Luke, flipping it to no risk, no reward. By the way, before I forget, Thursday, everyone here, unless they're in a place they can't, is going to have their cameras on. And we're all going to be the same size on the screen. And we're going to ask some questions. And we're actually going to chat. One at a time. You will be unmuted one at a time. Guess what? Some people will show up and get the reward. Some people won't. Luke, no risk, no reward. Building on from Carl's comment, if you don't try, you can't fail. But what you have to realise is you can't even try without failing. Because you're going back to that level of perfectionism. Unless I am guaranteed success and a full level of certainty, I'm not even going to try. But failing doesn't make you a failure. In fact, you cannot succeed without failing. Let that sink in. You cannot succeed without failing. You cannot get to pleasure without going through pain. You cannot get to heaven without going through hell. You cannot become focused without going through procrastination. You cannot get to happy without sad. So the other thing here, right? So procrastination is a mechanism to gain control and prevent risk. No failure, only lessons. It controls and stops the anxiety of change. Remember this, right? Rob Moore's famous quote, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. And that's what procrastination does. Yes, it's amazing for keeping you safe. It's amazing for survival. It's amazing for not failing. It's amazing for not triggering any of those internal fears that challenge your self-worth. But if we don't get a handle on it and flip it, then we'll never be able to move forward because we'll be just locked in this. I'm going to do everything to prevent any fear, any risk, any threat to my self-worth, any challenge, and I'm just gonna be the way I am now and stay this way forever. If that's what you want, you shouldn't be in this group. Now here's the even bigger thing that I wrote down. I don't think anyone will have considered this. it also protects against fear of success. Now, until I explain this, I bet it's not something that's ever been on your radar. Has anyone ever been afraid of success? Yeah, Stephen has. How will everyone treat me if I actually make the money, get the business, get the job, get the girl, get the boy, live the dream, take the action? What will my ex think of me if I actually move forward and live my dream life? What will my kids think of me? So very often, right, because we all have this human obsession of what people think about us, swimming around in goop, many people sabotage against success. Because what it does is it protects you against the weight of expectation. This is massive in relationships between parents and kids. If you say, some people use this in different ways. That's why, like, some people it works for, most people it doesn't. Most people just make themselves look like fucking idiots. So you'll get the classic Facebook post, right, that's it. I'm doing this for accountability. I'm doing it for attention. I'm doing it for validation. I've got some new sneakers. I've got a PT. I've signed up for the course. I'm going to lose this amount of weight in this amount of time. And I'm going to quit drinking. And I'm going to dump my husband who talks to me like shit every day. And I'm going to quit my job. And I'm going to do all these things. And we put it all out there, meaning well, right? And all of a sudden, there's this huge level of expectation. And before you know it, Karen's at the pub again next Friday. She's had 4 pints. She's just ordered a pizza. She didn't even go to the gym after Tuesday. She's gone back to the ex. And she's done everything that she said she was the opposite of what she was going to do. Because of the weight of expectation. It gets too much pressure. So like, do it for yourself. Don't put unnecessary expectation, because this is the way that works, okay? So the fear of success is basically kind of what Luke and Carl said as well. If I don't try, I'll be safe. If I don't try, nobody can make me feel like a failure. If I don't try, I'll never be mocked, judged, or laughed at. If I don't ask the girl out, I'll never have the embarrassment of her saying no. If I don't tell my husband it's over, then I'll never have to have that awkward conversation. If I don't stand up to my boss, I'll just have a quiet, easy life. If I don't go to the gym, I won't have to deal with how people make me feel, even though it's not about me when I walk through the door. Okay? And again, this is building into classic perfectionism. Right, I'm going to get the funnel sorted for my new membership site. I'm going to get the business cards. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, classic. I'm going to wait until, you know, I've got enough money to get the PT, to be able to do a full food shop, to get the trainers, you know, to get the new leggings, to get the sports bra, wait till the kids are back. Just go for a fucking run. Classic perfect. I don't have the headspace. You don't have the headspace to go for a run. Just go for a walk and track your food on MyFitnessPal. The end. Do you realise 99% of people could actually get results doing that with fat loss? Tracking food, staying in a calorie deficit and going for a walk every day. The problem is they don't track the food, they don't stay in the calorie deficit, and they don't go for a walk every day because they're waiting for everything to be perfect, all the ducks to be in a row, for everyone to agree with them and give them permission to do it. And then, do you know what? Maybe I'll track my food today. Or maybe I'll just piss around on social media from 6 p.m. till 10 o'clock at night. And then try and think of some reason why I didn't track my food. Oh, this calorie counting doesn't work for me. Guys, you get it, okay? You should get it by now. It's about figuring out what's important and what's not. The classic perfectionism is, I'm not perfect. Yes, Carl Apps. Perfect is the enemy of good. Perfectionism is the lowest level of fear and a high level of procrastination. I'm going to join your family, but I've not quite got the headspace yet. Okay, Karen, what do you have headspace for? Being a lazy, depressed wreck who sits on her fat ass every day and makes excuses about why it's not her fault that she keeps eating cake and not taking action. You have the headspace for that, but not for going for a walk. But again, it's not her fault. This is just a subconscious behavior trait that will have been running for years. But that's what it is. It's a behavior trait, and a behavior trait is something that we can change. That I don't have the headspace for this right now can only be a comment that can be made if you can fully qualify and add up what the thing is that you do have the headspace for and how that makes you look, feel and perform better in life in terms of health, wealth and happiness than doing the thing that you're talking about. If you can do that, then that's great. But again, it's the same as the time excuse. I don't have time. Okay, what do you have time for? Get me your planner out and show me what you did yesterday from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. at night. Again, no offense, but if some of you did that now, it would be a fucking joke. I mean that with love. Stevens is nailed. But if you use the excuse of not having time, what do you have time for? If you use the excuse of not having the headspace, what do you have headspace for? If you use the excuse of not having motivation, what do you have motivation for? If you use the excuse of being afraid, what is it that you're doing that's making you not feel afraid? All these things are natural within every one of us, so please don't take offence at my completely abrupt, inappropriate and direct words sometimes. Because every single thing I've said on this live, I can directly turn around on myself. And I'm talking about myself. As I said right back at the beginning, all of these things we all have within us. But perfectionism, inaction and procrastination instantly protects us. It protects us against a self-worth, protects our self-worth, and it protects us against feeling a way that we don't want to feel. But you have to then consider, if that's your option, then you're going to stay feeling the way you want to feel. You're going to stay feeling the way you're feeling. And I certainly don't want to do that. I don't want to be another 90 days down the line and say I'm struggling in business, I'm struggling in life, I can't hit peak flow, I'm struggling with focus because I didn't have the balls to make the decision that being in WhatsApp groups isn't a great idea for me. 99% of the time, it's a good idea for you guys. Not me. You guys, not me. That's why I want you to understand it. Because you guys, it's one group, one place. Me, it's one place, one group, trying to talk one to many. And then the 85 people all one-to-one in the same place, as well as other stuff. It's bewildered me that it's taken me so long to realise why it's not working and how it's affecting me mentally. But if I was just a person, not the coach, and I didn't have the other 80 people, it's a great thing. If it's not distracting you from your mission. So, it protects your self-worth. And what else procrastination does, and this is why it's so addictive, right? It gives you perceived comfort in the moment. What's easier? Me drilling down between 11 a.m. and 12 today when I haven't got a call, and really going out to all the people that have engaged in my posts and showed interest, and building rapport with them and starting relationships and finding out if they need help, doing stuff that's generally quite uncomfortable and not really fun. And the upside would be I might find 10 people that want to come on board and be strong members of Unbreakable by the end of the week. Or I could go for another little walk, put a little bit of Peter Sage on, have a nice jacket potato with cheese and beans and maybe another cup of coffee, and then maybe just go and lay on the bed for 15 minutes. One's awkward, uncomfortable testing, requires time, effort and focus. The other is just perceived comfort. So we choose perceived comfort in the moment over doing the thing we need to do to get the thing we want. How often have you said this? This is one of the biggest things that I've realised, me and people, because we're all the same, we're all one, have said and done in the past. I'm so glad that came up. It meant I didn't have to do X. Raise your hand virtually if you've said that. I'm so glad easy thing came up that I could use as an excuse and a reason that nobody could argue with, because it meant that I didn't have to do X. It could be so simple as, God, I'm so glad the kids were off school today. It meant I didn't have to go to the gym. I'm so glad that I got COVID because it meant I didn't have to go to the wedding. I'm so glad someone else had that conversation because it means that I didn't have to have it. I avoided pain and discomfort. That's what we're built to do as humans, right? I do it. So it also, this is how we have to understand this, both sides, right? Can anyone think of an example how it could be rewarded? Imagine if, trying to think of something that I could use an example. Imagine if, I'm so glad he rang me and asked me to go and help him out just before I was about to go on a run. Yes, absolutely. So how could it actually be used in positive? And this is how it could use in both scenarios, which goes back to what I said at the start about positives and negatives and everything being within us, and procrastination being a positive. Why am I doing this with my mouse? I've lost the plot. No. So this Apple mouse, right? Imagine I wanted to buy it on Friday, but then I didn't, and I were indecisive, and I kind of want the Apple mouse, but it's 200 quid and shouldn't really spend it, and then, oh no, I'll just go back to watching Netflix and chilling. Not going to get the mouse. Not right. I'm not in the right headspace to get the mouse. Next Tuesday, Apple do a sale and the mouse is 50% off. That's procrastination reward. And that can happen. But rarely in the real life situations. So sometimes we will be like, thank God I didn't have that conversation. Like, it can happen randomly in situations, like maybe you decided that you were going to have this conversation about why you didn't want to go to the social event, and your reasons why, and you were really kind of putting off having the decision with the person, and then they made that decision anyway when they decided they weren't coming. So sometimes it can be positive, which is why there's two flip sides to everything, like Luke said. So the other one is, sometimes we don't stand up to the conflict, we don't stand up to the confrontation, we avoid it, we don't have the difficult conversation because we're afraid of the outcome and the pain and how that would make us feel. And very, very, very occasionally, that could be a good thing. If you were let's say I was in this position now where I'm like, right, I need to get rid of this client because they're a fucking joke. They're not pulling their weight. They don't have any of the ethos of what unbreakable is. It's going to be really awkward and really uncomfortable, but this client has to go. They're not being a positive impact on the team. But I kind of procrastinate on that decision. This has happened in the last 3 weeks, by the way, for a couple of days, and the person quit with some bullshit excuse. See how it can be positive? Actually, I didn't have to have that conversation, but trust me, those things are few and far between. But also, in reality, I think 99 times out of 100, again, it is just avoidance. That's a bit of a got lucky situation, isn't it? You know, the Apple mouse was a got lucky situation. I tell you the opposite. How scandalous is this? So, Lee was procrastinating. Funny that, isn't it? So, I don't know if I told you this story. So, me and Logan were sat at this computer, not this weekend, the weekend before. And we were looking at Gulliver's, and he was in one of them moods. I'm thinking, he's not really giving me full green light that he wants to go to Gulliver's tomorrow. Not sure what the weather's going to be like, and he's kind of vibing off. I think he just, rather than going to Gulliver's, he wanted to go and buy some more Pokemon, and he wanted to play games on the TV. So I'm like, I'm not going to force him to do something in the morning that he doesn't want to do. I'll wait and see what his mood's like. 4 p.m. on Saturday, tickets to Gulliver's are £16 each. 8 a.m. on Sunday, they are £28 each. That is scandalous business technique. 'Cause that's saying we're going to literally put £12 per ticket on a £16 ticket when we know it's the day and people are over a barrel. If they've decided they want to go and they've told the kids, they've literally got no choice. So I got penalised for procrastinating on the decision. And that will happen 95% of the time, more than the other 5% when we get the reward from it. But also, if you're putting off the difficult conversation, the confrontation, the leaving the WhatsApp group, the starting to track the food, you're starting to be accountable, the asking for help, you know, generally the thing that you need to do isn't just going to correct itself. So if you don't just do it, take action, go for it, be willing to walk the tough road, be willing to have the difficult conversation, then the probably only upside of it is be willing to go to the gym, be willing to start tracking your food, be willing to start working on your mental health, be willing to ask for help and support. What will probably happen 99 times out of 100 is you'll still have to do the thing anyway. You'll just have to do it after weeks of anxiety, stress and worry in all of these things, you know. Again, who said this? Well, maybe if I ignore this problem, it's just going to go away. Rarely does it happen. You know, this is what's called the difference between, can't remember this from training. So there is a pathological procrastinator and there's a circumstantial procrastinator. So a pathological procrastinator is Karen, who just sits on the couch thinking that one day maybe someone's going to rescue her, take her to the gym, get her to eat healthy, or that the weight's just randomly going to drop off, or her boss is just randomly going to stop being a see you next Tuesday, or her husband is randomly just going to stop giving her a slap every time she's not got dinner on the table on time, or her kids are randomly just going to stop taking drugs and being abusive, or anything, whatever's going wrong that's causing the pain, the stress. Maybe it will just stop if I just sit here and wait defenseless. Someone will come and rescue me. They won't, okay? Those people stay stuck for the rest of their lives. Hoping for a better day, hoping for a better work, hoping their husband or wife starts treating them better, hoping they get a pay rise. Hoping. Hope's not a strategy. Now, the other type of procrastinators are circumstantial ones. So it's based on circumstances. But 99 times out of 100, hoping the problem is just going to sort itself out, it isn't. Have the awkward conversation. Start going to the gym. Go for the walk. Get up earlier. Stop scrolling. And watch new levels of the game open up for you. Because the reality is, and this is why it's big, procrastination keeps you safe, right? But only really in primal terms, in the olden days, in ancient society. In ancient society, procrastination keeps you safe. In this current day and age, it keeps you stuck. Because our brain's not kept pace with life. Like I said, cavemen didn't have big goals and dreams in their business or in their life or in their careers or in fitness. They didn't have relationship problems. All they had to do was survive, protect, and procreate. That's it. So when we can really understand procrastination, we can then, do you know what? I wish I could screenshot that for you guys. I'm going, fuck, it's gone, I can't. Last week's screen time was 1 hour 36 minutes per day. That's about 7 hours down. Yes, I'm very proud of that. Yes, it's given me more mental clarity and focus than anything else. Came at the perfect time though. 1 hour 56 minutes. Some days it was up to 13 hours. I'm not even joking. Again, we get people say, oh yeah, but I use it a lot for work. Yeah, I do, but not 13 hours. Not even 3. So the question we need to ask is, when we can understand procrastination, procrastination will either be helping us or hindering us. So the question we need to ask is, why am I procrastinating on this specific task? If you've got this far, I want you to comment on YouTube, why am I? Because again, I'm going to see how many people get this far on the video and watch it. And then call out the people who want more trainings but haven't watched the trainings that have already been recorded. Interesting. So why am I procrastinating? Write that down. Why am I procrastinating on this specific task? Not I'm a procrastinator. On this specific task. What am I trying to prevent? Why am I not tracking food? Why am I not going to the gym? What's it protecting you from? Why am I not asking for help? Why am I not changing careers? Why do I feel paralyzed from having that conversation with my boss or my partner? What am I trying to prevent? Remember, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So we should have lots of why am I's on the YouTube video. Because giving meaning to procrastination or inaction and understanding it's a place, an action and a state, not something we have as a disease or our identity, allows us to understand it and move forwards. It allows us to stop beating ourselves up, and it allows us to move forward and find a fix for the inaction. What needs to happen in order for me to move forward? Be healthier, wealthier and happier? What needs to change for me to be more focused? What needs to change for me to have better energy? Because when you can see what it is, why it's happening, then we can quickly fix it rather than it compounding further until it becomes a habit. So when we can see what procrastination is, why it's happening, and how I need to fix this today to move forwards, then we can start to say, I am an action taker. I have the habit of making decisions quickly. I am decisive. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And I stand by my decisions. Because if we don't, and we keep going backwards and not trying to understand it and not looking for fixes and not moving forwards, like I said, that's when we compound it and spend our whole life stuck with it and start saying things like, I'm a procrastinator. Now, final bits before I finish off. We can also flip procrastination in our favour. Who's ever considered, why don't we start procrastinating on the shit that's not important? It's mind-bending, this. Why don't you procrastinate on the low energy, low value, pointless shit that doesn't need to be done in favour of the high value, urgent, high energy tasks? Procrastinate on the unimportant jobs over the important ones. Flip it in your favour. This is why it says in the planner, this is how we flip it. Today's most important task. Today's next 3 most important tasks. We did it yesterday. Procrastinate on the to-do list. Procrastinate on the shit that's not important. Procrastinate on low energy jobs. Procrastinate on low value jobs. Procrastinate on non-urgent jobs. You know, think of it in terms of an army perspective, right? This is what I wrote down. So lads, we can save all our energy for this mission, or we can go and use it on reorganizing base camp. Procrastinate on base camp. It doesn't need reorganizing. Save your energy for the mission, because that will, when we understand this, this will increase progress and action towards the right things. So procrastinate on the shit you don't need to do. And understand and take away that all actions and all emotions can serve a greater purpose if we can understand them, not surrender to them. So why am I procrastinating and what needs to happen in order for it to change? Why am I feeling like I'm not focused and what needs to happen in order for it to change? Not I'm unfocused and I'm a procrastinator, so I'll just surrender to it and that's the way life is. So procrastinate hard on decisions and tasks that serve as a distraction from your mission. I.e., procrastinate hard on scrolling Instagram so you can get your food accurately tracked and planned. Procrastinate hard on Netflix and get your ass to the gym. Procrastinate hard on scrolling and watch personal development. So again, the questions I want you to answer is, what are you putting off and avoiding and why? So simple, real world example. I was putting off leaving the WhatsApp group, even though it was causing me the highest amount of inaction, loss of focus and distraction possible every day from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. because I was worried about what you would think. So what is it that you're putting off and avoiding and why? Because when we can understand that, that's how we can change it. So the whole thing, like, I'm pretty sure that none of you are going to send me a message after this saying, Lee, I'm absolutely devastated that you're not in the WhatsApp group anymore, and based on that decision, I would like to cancel my coaching contract with Unbreakable. And I'm pretty sure you will all value some higher one-on-one personal attention from me. So the actual reason that I was using for not doing it was a crock of shit. Because rather than just doing it and having the kahunas, I could think of a whole load of reasons not to do it, whilst moaning about how distracted I was, how much it was stressing me out, and yada, yada, yada. Same old story, what a load of tosh. So, ask yourself those questions today, not just in regards to that, but every area of life. I'm giving that as an example. Like, what have you been moaning about? Journal this out. What have you been moaning about for the last 4 weeks, but haven't done anything about it? Why haven't you done anything about it? And what needs to happen in order for us to get a handle on that situation and move forward? So, as I said, this is the bit I'm going to lead on. Failing can often lead to procrastination. That's the big one here. Again, if you've got this far on YouTube, comment the word fail. Failing leads to procrastination because it leads to procrastination on trying again, because we didn't like the way it made us feel. As I said, one failing doesn't make you a failure. Think about a child learning to walk, right? And this is what I'm going to end on. Learn from your 2-year-old self. 2-year-olds don't care what other people think. 2-year-olds don't spend the whole day distracted, worrying about other people's opinions. And 2-year-olds certainly don't quit every time they fail. In fact, they don't quit even when they are being laughed at, not mocked or judged, but laughed at, maybe judged actually, maybe mocked a little bit, by their parents. So what happens when your child first went to go from a crawl to a walk? It fell over, and it fell over again, and again, and again. And you probably laughed at it, and it laughed back. And it probably did experience some form of frustration, but it didn't let anyone else's opinion make it stop trying to walk. It didn't say, fuck this walking laugh, I'm not doing that. Do you know what? I tried to walk 5 times today and it didn't work out for me, so fuck this, I'm going to crawl forever. It just kept trying and trying and trying and trying. And when you can keep getting up, in spite of any pain, of judgment, of fear, of being mocked, of being laughed at, and you can keep going one day at a time towards your goals, no matter what setbacks you face, because you understand you're not a failure, but you have to fail to learn and succeed. One day, tracking food, protecting your mental health, having awkward conversations, having focus, moving forwards, having mission, having purpose, having clarity, having discipline, and everything in between, that are the traits that are going to lead you towards the life that you are going to love, and the life that you want, and the life that you deserve, will become as easy as walking. Just like now, you walk without even thinking about it. Remember, once as a child, you couldn't walk even a single step, and every time you did, you fell over, and people laughed at you. But you didn't give up. You didn't worry about being judged. You didn't worry about being laughed at. You just kept going and going and going and going until walking became as easy as breathing. So today's finisher is, learn from your 2-year-old self. I love you all. Stay unbreakable.